Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, Madhusudan Prabhu, you are with us?
Yes, just
okay, very good. So this is the fifth verse we're looking at for Gita Mahatmya. Was originally spoken by Lord Shiva, who appears in Kali Yuga as Sankaracharya. And as Sankaracharya, he was asked by the Lord to preach Mayavad philosophy, that we can all become one, we can become God. And this is what he mainly preached. However, towards the end of his life, he wrote the Govinda Bhasya. And Govinda Bhasya ends with Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda. So his last work, basically he was telling everybody, you should always chant the name of Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. So even though he was meant to be preaching the philosophy of the impersonalism, whatever one does at the end of his life is the most important thing. So actually, he is a devotee of the Lord. He is Lord Shiva, none other than Lord Shiva, the greatest Vaishnava. So he didn't want to preach this Mayavadi philosophy, but he did so because he was ordered by the Lord, and they wanted to re-establish the Vedas, Vedic principles again. So he also spoke the Gita Mahatmya, which Lord Vyasadeva has written into the Padma Purana. This is the fifth verse, so we can recite this together. Bharatamrita sarvasam Vishnu Bhakat Vinihashtam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Puna Janmana Vidyate.
One who drinks the water of the Ganga attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of the Mahabharata. It is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu.
So let's dive into the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. And today we've got a fantastic subject matter, Transcendental Knowledge, Chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. So far, very, very brief summary. We've gone through chapters 1, 2, and 3. Chapter 1 is where Arjun gives his reasons for why he should not fight this war, or this war should not continue. So many reasons, valid, good reasons. In the second chapter, Arjun takes shelter of the Lord, and Krishna immediately takes him out of this material platform onto the spiritual platform, explaining to him that his real nature is eternal, as is everybody else's, and the body is simply the outer covering. And then he explains about the duties of the body and the soul, and he also describes that person who is performing the duty perfectly. How does he behave? How does he walk, talk, etc. And yesterday we covered chapter 3, where Krishna describes more about karma yoga, how to perform action without being attached to the fruits of that action. And that is the beginning of karma yoga. And we talked about how there's two types of karma yoga, which again we will touch upon, not today, but be later on, chapter 5, tomorrow, hopefully. So in chapter 3, Krishna described again how to act without selfish motives. He also described the karma kanda activities, how the Vedas prescribes certain activities one can do to enjoy one's senses. And those are authorized activities, but they keep you in this world. Those actions will keep you in this world. And then Krishna described about one who performs yoga. What does he do? One who's perfected karma yoga. So Krishna explained that, yes, he's liberated, but he continues to work because he sets an example to the whole world. And then we talked, Krishna was asked the question by Arjun, how is it that we are impelled to commit sinful activities even if we don't want to? And Krishna answered that by saying that this is simply a question of lust, and one should try to control the senses so that you can control lust. So today we want to talk about chapter 4, and in summary, chapter 4, as the title suggests, is all about acquiring transcendental knowledge, which is very important to establish our connection with the Supreme Lord. And there's a Vedic quote: aim to see God through the ears rather than through the eyes. Who are we to see the Lord? In fact, I remember Guru Maharaj often saying we should act in a way that God can see us, as opposed to we trying to see him. Again, there are 4 major themes in this chapter. And as we've said before, each verse actually is nectar in itself, and each word has so many meanings. When Krishna speaks one word, it actually has many, many meanings. But we are just going to breeze through this chapter, and we've worked out 4 different themes in this chapter. One is, how is transcendental knowledge passed down, and what is its effect? Second theme is how the Lord reciprocates with everyone. And the third theme is the different types of karma, akarma, karma, and vikarma, and the importance of knowledge and taking shelter of a guru. So we can start with the reading of the first 10 texts. Sanjana, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great, Sanjana. So please, you can read.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Text 1. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishvaku.
Good.
Text 2. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Text 3. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Text 4. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Text 5. The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy.
Oh,
You've gone
I've gone too far. Ah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Text 6. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Text 7. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and predominant rise of a religion, at that time I defend myself. Text 8. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Text 9. One who does not know the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjun. Or one who knows, I think. I should have said.
That's okay.
Text 10. Being free from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's fine. Sanjana, very nicely read, as always. Sanjana, just in case devotees don't know, she's studying English in Bristol University, and it's a pleasure that you're with us, actually. Thank you very much. So later on, you can continue reading. So this chapter contains many famous verses. Yada yada dharmasya, that's text number 7. Everybody will know that. Prityanaya sadhunam. And then also we have Janma Karma Cha Medium, number 9. And 10 is Vitarag Bhaya Kota. So, so many famous verses. And here Arjuna actually questions the Supreme Lord, because the Lord is explaining to him that I told this transcendental knowledge to Vivaswan, who passed it on to Ikshvaku. And Arjun immediately picks it up and says, how can that be possible? He challenges the Lord. Vivaswan is older to you by his birth. So how did you instruct this to Vivaswan? So Arjun is then, the answer is given by the Lord, that many, many births, both you and I have passed. The difference between us is I remember all of mine and you cannot remember any of yours. So this shows a significant difference between us and the Lord. So the summary of chapters 1 to 10, in this world, we have a guide map. This is our guide map. Every gadget we buy has an instruction manual. So the Lord provides a guide how we can live our lives. And he provides that right at the beginning of time to the sun god. And of course, that chain was broken. And he again revives that knowledge by explaining it to Arjuna. So these guidelines are found in the ancient scriptures. Krishna explains the education system, which was originally set up by him in the first place. And it's needed in order that we can reconnect ourselves with the Supreme Personality of God. Now, the text, which is the one I want to focus in on, in our opinion, that this is very important and a lesson that we can take away from the first 10. There's many lessons, but this is the one which I want to focus on. That he explains in text 9 that one who knows the transcendental nature of my activities and my appearance goes back to the spiritual world, does not, upon leaving this material body, stay in this world. So what I wanted to convey was that we should try to read a portion of the Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada every single day, even if it's one paragraph, one page, one chapter, whatever one has the time to do so. Why? Because Krishna is giving us the secret of how to get out of this material world and go back to the spiritual world. Janma karma chame devyam evam yovati tatvata takta deha punar janma naiti mamati sorjan. He's saying janma karma chame. One who understands janma, his appearance, and karma, his activities, will, when he leaves his material body, go back to the spiritual world. So this book is a fantastic gift given to us by Srila Prabhupada. It is a summary, it is a collection of the verses that were spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavad Puran. Generally, we're not allowed to read the 10th canto unless we've been through the other 9, the first 9 cantos. And, but very fortunately, Prabhupada has given us Krishna book. He's translated the 10th canto into the Krishna book. And that he has allowed us to read. So it's an opportunity for us to read this glorious, glorious book. And I'm just studying Krishna book with a view to delivering a children's class on Saturday. And because we're talking about different pastimes of Krishna, or we're actually systematically going through the Krishna book with the children. And this is a little extract from the book. I just wanted to read this for you. Know what I mean?
Sometimes Mother Yashoda used to ask Krishna to bring her a wooden plank for sitting. Although the wooden plank was too heavy to be carried by a child, still somehow or other Krishna would bring it to his mother. Sometimes his father, while worshipping Narayan, would ask him to bring his wooden slippers, and Krishna, with great difficulty, would put the slippers on his head and bring them to his father. When he was asked to lift some heavy article and was unable to lift it, he would simply move his arms. In this way, daily, at every moment, he was the reservoir of all pleasure for his parents. The Lord was exhibiting such childish dealings with the inhabitants of Vrindavan because he wanted to show the great philosophers and sages searching after the absolute truth, how the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is controlled by and subject to the desires of his pure devotees.
So this is a extract from the Krishna book, and we can see the wonderful dealings between Krishna and his devotees. He's a Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he was holding his father's slippers, wooden slippers, on his head and bring it to him. These activities are inconceivable. How can the Supreme Personality of Godhead act like a little baby? Sometimes he would try to stand and then fall again, and Mother Yashoda and Nand Maharaj would help him up. Hold his two hands, little fingers on their fingers, and lift him up. And these activities would give so much joy to Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, completely captivating them with his reciprocation of love. So that's what we gain from reading the Krishna book. We gain an understanding of how wonderfully the Lord is behaving with his devotees. Even though he's a Supreme Personality of Godhead, he takes a subordinate position. And this sentence is very nice, how Prabhupada is explaining. He wanted to show the great philosopher and sages that searching after the absolute truth, who are searching after the absolute truth, that the absolute truth, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is controlled and subject to the desires of his pure devotees. So this is a fascinating book to read. And if we do read, we will understand Krishna's activities much better and go back to Godhead simply by reading this book and following the rules and regulations, etc. He also explains in this verse how and when he comes to our world. But that's not the prime reason for Krishna's appearance. The prime reason is to reclaim us, to make us again fall in love with him, because he shows us his sweet nectarian pastimes.
Yeah, because I mean, even though people pick up on the verse, the two verses like Yada Yada Dharmasya, where Krishna says that's why he comes, but those are external reasons. Because any form of Krishna, like Vishnu, could have come and done that work for him, and he could send devotees like Prabhupada to reclaim all the devotees as well. So those are external reasons, really, even though he states them in this chapter.
So, Madhusudan Prabhu, would you like to share anything? We can't hear you, Prabhu. Maybe if you log back in again. No, he's so. Are there any questions while we're waiting for Madhusudan Prabhu? Are there any questions by anybody in respect of these first 10 verses or what we've just described, explained? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, Priti, Hare Krishna.
Just going ahead with what you've just said, that the Lord could have come in any personality, really, like Narasimha or Ram, or send a guru down to pass on the knowledge. But he came by himself because he wanted to carry out the Leela, the loving Leela with his devotees. When he was around, that there were many people who were not aware that there was that one supreme personality in the form who was like a little boy. Why did the knowledge only go as far as there's the Trinity, there's demigods? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So that this could be hidden. This this Leela could happen under Yogmaya.
Yes. Why did he not reveal himself to everybody, as opposed to being revealed to the Trinity? Basically, isn't that? Is that what you're saying?
Like, yeah. Why wasn't that knowledge readily available as it is right now? Because he said I passed this knowledge on to the sun god, and it went down, and obviously it probably dissolved, and that's why he had to come back and say it again. But there were a few people who knew that this is the supreme, right? Like even above Narayan.
Yeah. Krishna actually hides his divinity. He doesn't, he's Lila Purush. He doesn't necessarily enjoy being worshipped as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he descends, he won't show his divinity. Unlike Vishnu, who has the 4 hands, you can tell that this is definitely Supreme Lord. Whereas Lord Krishna, his nectar, where he really relishes his pastimes, are with the devotees and the interaction with the devotees. And if the interaction is based on divinity or majesty, then he doesn't relish that relationship as much as he would if it was based on pure love, like we see between Yashoda and Krishna. The relationship is based on parenthood, and Krishna loved that pastime, those relationship leelas with his devotees. He doesn't, he's very humble in the sense that he doesn't reveal himself, he doesn't advertise himself. He comes to our world. He wants to reclaim everybody. He won't force himself on us, so he won't make us love him, but he will show his loving nature. And especially through Krishna book, when we read the Krishna book, we can see how his behavior sometimes may seem as a very ordinary child, but actually these are extraordinary nectarian leelas that taking place, which are meant to transform our hearts from, being hard-hearted to soft-hearted to loving the absolute Supreme Personality of God, but not in relation to his divinity, but in relation to his sweetness. So that's one of the main reasons why he doesn't advertise himself. Not many would have they would have seen Krishna, but not recognized him as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. His devotees did. Vidur, for example. Vidur and his wife, Vidurani, they knew who he was. And Krishna reciprocated with them accordingly. They had no wealth. When Krishna went to the palace to meet with Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana at that time invited him, come to my ashram, I shall make chapan bhog for you. But Krishna declined. And he said, no, I'd rather be with my devotee. And he went to Vidur's, and Vidur, Rani, gave him the banana skin to eat by mistake, because she was so entranced by having the darshan of the Supreme Lord by mistake. And he ate it. And Vidur was questioning Vidurani, what have you done? You've given him the banana skin instead of the peel, instead of the banana itself. And Krishna was saying, it's from the hands of Vidurani. So it's very delicious. So his mood is different as Krishna. As Vishnu, the mood is different. Does that make sense, Priti?
Yes, Prabhu, it does. It does. Thank you. I just didn't know how to, like, I had those questions where obviously some people knew, so why did some people didn't know? And I thought that it was something based around him interacting with devotees, but the way you've explained it, like, helps a lot more to,
Thank you.
yeah, understand that. Thank you.
If there's more clarification needed, please always ask. Madhusudana, were you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Right. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, he was asking me for a password, I had to re-log in and all that. So it's all right, yeah. Yeah, no, I like this part of this chapter 4 Bhagavad Gita, because it actually reveals the purpose of Lord Krishna. Krishna's coming into this material world. He doesn't have to, but he does, And yesterday in chapter 3 also he said, if I didn't act, then everybody would follow my example, and then everything would go to ruination. But he comes and he establishes the dharma again, or he will kill the miscreants, and get on the right. But his real interaction is with his pure devotees, and they really know deep down who Krishna is. We all know from the pastimes of Krishna, and like you say, Krishna book is so relevant, and for us to understand that his activities are devium, they're transcendental, they transcend. Our activities are material. We get material reaction from it. When Krishna comes and does anything, it's all above material. And he can actually, he doesn't have to follow the material laws as well. But he does actually, he'll say, I'll follow the prescribed duties. He goes to Gurukul and he himself pretends like, he knows, he doesn't know anything. He's interacting with his friend, and there's a whole, pastime with his friend Sudama. And so, yeah, it's very nice. But let's carry on. Now,
Good. No, thank you for sharing that, actually. Very nice points. And I hope Krishna book is something that devotees can put on their daily schedule, even if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, slowly reading the Krishna book just will give us that little bit more understanding of Krishna, which is so fundamental. And it's very little price to pay for the gain. The gain is humongous. Okay. So Sanjana?
Yeah. Text 1. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Parth. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. Text 13. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Text 14. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Text 15. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty, following in their footsteps.
Okay, so that's the theme ends at that point. So up to text 15. Now, in this text, in this section, there's a few things that Krishna explains very beautifully, which addresses a lot of the misconceptions that we have. That one of them being, we can follow anything and it'll lead to the same ultimate end. Well, Krishna destroys that argument. He says that everybody follows my path in all respects, but those who, there's unity in diversity in the sense that ultimately everybody's following his path, but according to how one is following, he will be rewarded. So there are different gradations of spiritual elevation. Sometimes it can take a long time to reach Krishna, depending on the route we take. So it is described that bhakti is the fastest route to go back to Godhead. Whereas karma yoga, where one does not involve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, karma yoga being action, but done without any attachment, but without the involvement of the Supreme Lord, it can take a very long time to reach the Supreme Lord. And similarly, gyan, when one is gathering knowledge and involved in various yogic processes, meditation, it can take a substantially long time, a period of time to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But ultimately, all paths do reach him, but it's a question of time, long time. It can take a long time through certain paths. Second part he addresses is the misconception that there are many gods. He's explaining that the demigods are his servants, and this he does much more clarity in chapter 7. So we'll address it at that point. But he is describing the monotheistic stance of one God, many expansions. In fact, it's a little bit more more complicated than that. As we've discussed in the past, it's multi-layered. I love this term, multi-layered, polymorphic bimonotheism. So if anybody asks, that's what we follow. And what that means, multi-layered, means we do have the devatas who are themselves great devotees of the Lord. So that's where the multi-layer can be. One can approach the devatas and slowly make their way up towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And polymorphic basically means that the Lord has many, many expansions. And by monotheism, because we believe in the divine couple, Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, Lakshmi Narayan. So there is one Lord, but he expands himself as Radharani. So it's by monotheism. So this is quite an interesting concept. And of course, Krishna explains about the class system. Of course, nowadays, the caste system has been terribly misused. But actually, this system comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any system which tries to abolish this system can't do it, because it's there as an eternal principle in the material world. You always need the four classes of men. You need the workers, you need the businessmen, you need the army and the administrators, and you need the intellectuals. Even in Russia, when they tried to abolish the class system, those four classes of personalities were always in existence and will continue to exist. That's how society is run. So the lesson to take away from this is the first verse of the 11th verse, where Krishna indicates that he reciprocates according to our commitment to him. So we take one step towards him, and it is said, our spiritual master often used to say, you take one step towards Krishna, he'll take 10 steps towards us. So the more we connect with him, the more he will connect with us. He won't impose himself on us. Of course, he's always there with us as Paramatma. He is there to protect us, to guide us, and to protect us, to guide us, and talk about the third bit. But he's always with us. But he will not directly reciprocate with us unless we take steps towards him. So, Madhusudan Prabhu, do you want to add to this?
Yes, now main points in this are obviously that, Krishna is not like a dictator, That's
Right.
what I like to look upon it like that, he doesn't force himself in a relationship or anything. We've all been given a free will, and that free will is something that we can exercise. And in any relationship, if there is that free will exercised, then the relationship is going to flourish. And in all relationship, basically there are two types of relationship. One is, I look upon relationship as either it's a destructive relationship or a constructive relationship. And in either or both the relationships, materially, we got father, mother. I'm related as a father to my son, or that as a husband. But then, if it's a destructive relation, then I'm trying to manipulate and impose and put down the person and all that sort of thing. Whereas in a constructive relationship, you're encouraging, you're supporting, and you're making advancement and encouraging to move towards, on a spiritual path. So, those are the kind of relationship we end up in, but it's good if it's a constructive relationship, and we've got to find that kind of relationship. Krishna doesn't force himself, but when he does start to relate with us, then he actually does remove lots of impediments, and he will make our journey much, much more easier. Although challenges are there, we can see it from the examples of many, many devotees who knew that Krishna is there, but Krishna puts them in a bit of a challenge. Draupadi had to really had to sort of give in at the final moment. She thought she would rely on all the other different relationships she had. But finally, you know, when she did surrender, then Krishna actually reciprocated. But that's what Krishna is, you know, he you know, and more wonderful is actually Krishna's representatives are more forgiving and more, more merciful. Like his, you know, the representative like Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, you know, they were so kind and encouraging and to disciples, and they're also not forcing, but when we do reciprocate, yeah, very important.
Very nice. Thank you very much for bringing Draupadi, that pastime into context. Very nice. Thank you very much. Any points from this? Any questions? Any realizations anybody has?
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to ask a little bit more about how. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Absolutely fine.
Yeah. I just wanted to understand a little bit more about how Krishna envisioned the caste system to work, because obviously now it's a little bit different to, I think, what he understood. So I just wanted to know a little bit about that and how we know who we would be. So, because I think in the Mahabharata there's a big emphasis on, you know, just because you're born in said family doesn't mean you're this caste. Like I think with Karan they say, oh, you're definitely a warrior.
Yeah. Very
so yeah, I just wanted to know a bit about how you know.
good question. The misuse of the caste system was exactly that point. If you're born in a family of Brahmins, then you're forever regarded to be a Brahmin, even though the actions may not be suitable or those of a Brahminical quality. If you're born in a family of warriors, you're regarded to be a warrior. What happened with Kern? He didn't know his mother and father, and actually he was adopted by the charioteer, which is a Shudra family. And he was always labeled as a Shudra because he was born in that family. Although his quality, his nature was that of a fighter, a Kshatriya. So this is where the caste system was misused. And especially in Kali Yuga, the Brahminical class took it over, and basically their behavior was not so good, but they were claiming to be Brahmins. And everybody else was considered second class or third class or fourth class. Now, how it works is by your actions and your nature. So if one is born in a family of workers, Shudras you could argue, but is actually an intellectual person, then it is his actions and his behavior which is going to determine where he sits in society. So he would be regarded as a Brahmin, whereas somebody who's born in a Brahminical family, very cultured, but behaves in a very bad way, behaves like a Shudra, for example, his position would be that he actually is a Shudra, because that's how he's behaving, even though he's born in a family of Brahmins. How do we know which particular class we are in? I could say in your case, for example, if you don't mind me taking your case, you're very much on an intellectual level. You know, you study and you analyze, you focus so nicely. You have this intellectual quality. So in many ways, your nature is Brahminical. But Brahmins, there's much more than just the aspect of intellect. There's the aspect of compassion, kindness. What else is there? There's a lot more qualities attached. Humility, tolerance. Nice, yeah, good. So sometimes it's a little blurred because in Kali Yuga, we have the worst comes out of us. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say that in Kali Yuga, everybody's a Shudra, everybody's low class. And actually, that's the right attitude to have about ourselves, that actually my position is I'm quite weak. I am not very strong in terms of my character, in terms of my qualities. And in that mood of humility, it's much easier to approach the Supreme Lord and to be able to reciprocate with the Supreme Lord. So I would say, if we're looking at, it's very easy in Kali Yuga try to work out where we stand. We're Shudras. And in that weak position, inferior position, it's much easier to approach the Lord in humility.
If you do want to cultivate the Brahminical qualities, we will touch upon them later on in the Bhagavad Gita, where there's whole lot of qualities that are listed that we could try and imbibe into our daily life. But yeah, so Prabhupada said, okay, we all Shudras, but our aim is to raise ourselves to the Brahminical standard. So again, that's what the Bhagavad Gita will teach us and help us in doing that.
That's a good point, actually. Just because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said we're all Shudras doesn't mean we act and behave like Shudras. The idea, especially of spiritual culture, is to go beyond, improve ourselves and go beyond the Brahminical stage and become Vaishnavas, worshippers of Lord Vishnu. Sanjana, does that answer the question?
Wait, yeah, that mainly answers it. Thank you. I just wanted to know one final thing. Sorry if you touched upon it.
Please,
I
no.
did lose my connection at one point.
We like questions.
But you know how the Shudras are workers? I think that's how I understand them. How come their profession is associated with
No, it's
bad
not
behavior? That makes sense.
It's not the profession. It's the character. It's their nature, which is to serve others. It's not the profession. But, but we categorize that profession as like a worker to be a Shudra. But actually, it's not right. Actually, what it is the Brahmanic who are the head of the society. So they're the thinkers and teachers. That's right. The Kshatriyas are the administrators and the warriors. They're like the arms of the Lord. And the Vaishya are the businessmen who look after the cows, merchants. And they're like the stomach, and the legs are the Shudras. Now, in a body, you need all the parts. You can't function if you don't have legs. We know somebody who's just had 2 legs amputated. My goodness, it's hard to function in that way. So society needs all aspects of the 4. However, without the head, you're completely finished. Without the legs and the hands, at least you can do something. So the Brahmanikus are, in that sense, supposed to be superior. But where a Brahmin thinks I am superior, then there's a problem, because the Brahmin is supposed to be humble. So that's the immediate sign that that person is not a Brahmin.
They're really the guides of society. They guide society in the right direction.
Okay, thank you. That really helped.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Bhavani here. Can I just add something to Preeti's question? Is it okay if I share my ideas about it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So, according to my understanding, Prabhuji, yes, like you said, yes, God has created this caste system, but I think it's based on the actions. Like you said, anyone can turn into any, for example, if your actions, if your karma, day-to-day lifestyle, if you put yourself into lot of spiritual activities and then acquiring knowledge and guiding society, and people do lot of havans and yajnas and from olden days. I think most of the time, if you engage yourself into that kind of spiritual activities, then that one called as a Brahmin. That's what I understand. Where, like you said, another I wanted to add here, like for our body, we need all organs, like legs and body and everything. So in the same way, Shudras are not separated. They are. I mean, obviously, our caste system was completely misused
Yeah,
within the
yeah,
centuries.
yeah.
But actually, yes, Shudras, where his action is totally based on the karma, like, he won't think much. He just blindly follows whatever the guidance he got from the, Brahmins and the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. He just does that. He won't use his mind, but he keep himself busy in that activities. He blindly follows them.
Correct.
So that's what the Shudras means. But yes, like Chaitanya Prabhuji said, in Kali Yuga, everyone is treated as Shudras because we have this way. We don't need to, sometimes that's been taught in India. Most of the, like a few generations back, they won't question the Vedas that time. They don't have, like, they just simply blindly follows them. Like, yes, they said in this way, we just need to do the Ekadashi Vratam. Yes, we just need to do. And later on, now we are so fortunate, especially in this century, we are trying to think, analyze, like, why we should do, now this is really, I would say this is really 21st century people are really fortune, and they can realize and they can put themselves into bhakti based on why we are doing. You get the reason why we should follow this.
Very good,
So
Annie.
Shudras also very important, and it's in Kali Yuga, like Prabhuji said, everyone is Shudras. So, and surrendering to God as being Shudra is very easy. You just don't think, like, you are starting from zero knowledge. You are thinking so that, we won't get that arrogance and pride in ourselves.
That's it.
So that surrendering is much more easy if you consider Shudra. So, I mean, obviously, because of the caste system, I think we may feel sometimes, some people may feel like, oh, why someone called me Shudra or something. Nothing to feel about it, but in front of God, yes, we should start from zero knowledge. Just, surrendering become very easy.
Bhavani,
So that's what I have to add here.
yeah, very good. Now, Bhavani,
Yeah,
if you are able to join tomorrow,
yeah,
I'd like you to also have the opportunity to read,
yeah,
if that's possible. Yeah. But
yeah, sure.
your
Thank you,
points are
Prabhuji.
very nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
In the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 42nd verse, Krishna explains the qualities of a Brahman. He
yeah,
says, peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. Action is one thing,
yeah.
performing yajna is one thing, but
Yeah.
actually one's nature needs
Nature
to
also,
follow.
yes. I do totally agree. Yes,
So if
Prabhuji.
somebody does yajnas, but their nature and their consciousness
Yeah.
is Shudra, then actually even they're performing the action, they're still actually Shudra.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but very nice. Thank you for sharing, Bhavani. And it's very important that you do share. So keep sharing. Huh? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anibin, did you have a comment?
Yes, I read somewhere that
Yeah.
in this Kali Yuga age, we are all, instead of each individual class says everybody is a Shudra as per
Yes.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we
That's
think
right.
everybody is like a hybrid of each character. Everybody has got something,
Yes.
and they can express himself in different ways.
Yes, that's correct. It's correct. Everybody has some good qualities. Everybody has a lot of bad qualities, but there is always some good to find. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And later on in the Gita thing, we will talk about 5 types of people. And one of them, I'll just give a hint. Even if they're very good qualities, they will never see those good qualities. And on the other scale, you've got, even if, like the spiritual master, he will see so many bad qualities in us, but he will just focus on the good quality and bring us up to a spiritual platform. So you're absolutely right, Mataji. Even though we're Shudra, everybody has some qualities to offer to the Lord. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. So I think we will have to call it a day there, and we've gone through about half of the chapter. and I think we will need to, because the next two parts are quite involved, important to go through in a peaceful consciousness rather in a rush. So I hope devotees don't mind, but if we do the second half of chapter 4 tomorrow, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Nabi, I'd love to.
Yeah.
It's long, you know, and
I mean, we've got all night tonight. And even if we have all night, chapter 4 is one of the hardest, one of the most amazing chapters to go through. And we can discuss it all night long. And especially, actually, I just want to share one thing, especially you just reminded so nicely about Draupadi. When she was calling out to Krishna, this is one of the Goswamis is explaining what was actually happening. Krishna was in Dwarka with Satyabhama. And Satyabhama heard the cries of Draupadi. And she said to Krishna, my friend, your Sakhi is in trouble. Go and help her. So Satyabhama, Krishna said, no, it's too late. I can't do anything. And Satyabhama was amazed. What do you mean it's too late? So Draupadi was being disrobed. She left one hand and she was holding on to the sari with the other hand. And Dushashan was doing his best to disrobe her. So then again, Satyabhama cried out to Krishna, go and help. Go and help my friend. I learned so much from my friend. Were you here, standing here, not wanting to help her? And Krishna still said, no, it's too late. Sorry, can't help her. And then Draupadi, realizing that she could actually do nothing against Dushashan's strength, just let go and completely surrendered to Govinda. Govinda was coming out from her mouth and tears from her eyes. And she was crying out in desperation, Govinda. And then Krishna said, now I can go. I can ride on the chariot of her tears. And immediately he came and supplied unlimited sari. So that reciprocation of Krishna is personified in this pastime of Draupadi. It's really phenomenal. So thank you for reminding me of that pastime. Appreciate that. So unless there are any questions or comments, we can stop there. And actually today is a day where in Jagannath Puri, something special, as Jayanti mentioned, happened. And we had one of our devotees who's on the call, Karuna Bandar, who was actually present in this Bahuda Yatra 5 years ago. So I wanted her to share her pastimes, her experience in Jagannath Puri at that time. Karuna, are you there? Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Karuna.
So my experience, we went for Rath Yatra, and then we left Jagannath Puri, we went back to Bhubaneswar, and then we came back again for Bahuda Yatra. So
this picture is from today, by the way. This picture is from today.
Oh yeah, I watched it on the TV.
The best place to be. Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to share that it's as if a call from within, or I don't know what. We were warned not to go in the crowd, but I just couldn't resist. I just thought to myself that we are here. We came here to have darshan of the Lord, and we are just sitting and watching on TV, just as we would be doing it here in Mauritius. So I was on the balcony. I had a look at we assisted the return yatra, and then the Sona Besh we were watching on TV. So I went to the balcony. I watched in the direction that the road was. I came back to the room. I watched on the TV, and I told myself, no, I can't just resist. I have to go. I have to go. I have to go. So my daughters were were not keen to go because the crowd was really amazing, so huge crowd. But I managed to convince everyone, say, no, we should go, we should. And then we went. And that's the picture. Oh, you included this one also.
Sorry, yeah.
So that's the darshan that we got.
This is the Sonavesh, the
Yes.
golden outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Bahuda Yatra, is when the Rath Yatra is going back from Gundicha temple, which is here. This is the Gundicha temple. And Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, they're pulled again all the way back to Jagannath temple. And this is the pictures from today. And you can see not many people, but normally all of this will be completely covered in millions of people. Sea of
We
people.
barely have any space to put our feet on the ground. So many people. And we were just as if on a river and being carried away.
Right.
We couldn't barely walk. We were just pushing and pushing, and we were there.
Did you catch the rope, pull the rope at all?
No. We didn't go for the yatra itself, the Bahuda yatra. We went only at night for the Shonabesh Darshan.
Okay. And this is today the king who was waiting for Lord Jagannath, Baladev Subhadra to come. So, and then...
No, this is after.
Yeah.
So the chariots have already reached.
Right.
So he's going to do some puja, so he's waiting at the entrance.
Right. And then this is the outfit. This is in 2015. You saw this, had darshan of Subhadra Maharani, Balaram, and Jagannath. Yeah. Jai Jagannath, Jai Balaram, Jai Subhadra. Thank you. And Mataji, this is so this is the king, and this is yourself.
Yes.
And this is
Chitra.
Yeah. Very good. And this is your younger daughter. How old is she?
Yeah.
20.
20.
And what's her name?
Kritika.
Kritika. Wow. Very good. And this is your hubby. What's his name?
Ramrup.
Ramrup. Very good. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So let's chant Nrsimhadev while you're with us.
Navi.